Hi guys, so today we're going to be talking about penny stock breakouts and how to catch huge runs. Today, or actually about a month ago, it was about Thanksgiving. This is just one of the examples. There was a stock, DPW, and it ran up from, I believe it was about like $2, and it ran up all the way to a high of 10.94. Now, what I looked for this stock, the news was really crazy because it was about uh, they were announcing that they were going to start putting EV charging stations at fast food restaurants around the U.S. And so, of course, the EV sector is really hot right now, and this stock was really cheap, trading about $2. So, of course, with that, it was going to run up huge. And it was also another thing that I noticed was on the daily chart, we had this uptrending support, and then we also had this. I'm just going to show closer. So we had the uptrending support here coming up from the previous lows, and then we had this descending resistance. So you can see it better. I'll take it off and then redraw it. So you can see that candle, that candle, that candle, that candle um, they all went up to that descending resistance and got rejected. And then the day before they dropped the news, looks like it broke out. Yep, it already broke out. So literally, you could have got in that day knowing, yeah, we're going to see a huge breakout because it broke out of the long-term resistance. So that day, like I say, it was really, really strong news. And so I'm just going to go to that day. Um, so it was within like 90 days. And do like the 5-minute chart. So really the news and how the chart was looking just made it out to be like it was a really high probability trade. There was almost no way it was really not going to work out um, because of how the chart was setting up. It was like November 23rd, I believe. Okay, so yeah, you can see here the day that it broke out, it already started going up, and there's that resistance. It broke out. So you can see they released the news here, didn't even get a huge reaction off of it pre-market. I got in pre-market because I saw the news and I knew that it could be big, and I didn't get in with too much size. So if it went wrong, it really wouldn't affect me. But anyway, continued up towards market. We can see that a lot of buyers came in towards open by the volume average here. Yeah, you can see before market open there was a lot of buying. They tried to sell off. It was like a fake out to the downside. We had more buyers step in, and because of the news, it really did have potential to hit. I knew that it did have the potential to hit $10 plus, or at least way higher than $5. They say like $7 plus. And so, like I say, I got in pre-market in the twos. It continued up through the day because, like I say, pre-market it really didn't have a huge reaction. And even if it was up, like let's say $5, it probably still would have ran just because of that news. But because I had the advantage of getting in cheap and it didn't have the huge reaction yet, I knew that it could potentially be a really good play. So we continued up through the day, squeezing out shorts and new investors and new traders coming in because of the news and the chart pattern. They were probably seeing the exact same things I was. And so let's say you got united and you sold out. You didn't even have to wait till the next day. You could just sell out after hours or right before the end of the day. It would have been anywhere from like 150% return to 200%. And then it eventually did rally up to 1094, but I'm doubt anyone really sold up there. Probably some people were able to, but when you already are up, 200% or whatever, it's just good to lock in your profits. And after this, I mean, it did have some potential to continue higher, but there was really no follow through. It continued selling off. With a lot of these, you don't really want to be holding past the day of the news or the day after, just because it's like a hype type of situation where it's only going to be up, and then it could potentially be sold off, especially because the company isn't actually an EV company. They just have subsidiaries that have something to do with it that are going to be putting up those charging stations. Um, so that's one of the examples, and potentially it could continue higher. It could continue higher because it is on the daily chart. It is, but it didn't really hold the gains too well at all, so I wouldn't really bet on that at all. But let's say it did start curling back up and breaking over these, like let's say like 5, and continuing an uptrend, then yeah, I would say it could be a good long-term play, possibly like a swing trade. But I still would keep my risk small just because of the type of company it is. Another one that I traded yesterday that I'm still in holding over the weekend is LMFA. And this was a stock, same sort of situation. We had this long-term resistance. I'm sorry, that came down, and we also had, let's see here, we had support coming in. So we had support coming in down here, and what happened was, we had the descending resistance that it finally broke through and went sideways, and then we also had this inverted head and shoulders formation. And so when they dropped the news yesterday, we'll go to the 1 day 1 minute so you can see better. So automatically right when they dropped the news, it was going up into went up into a halt. The candle right before the halt closed at 102, I believe, or $1, and then after that it ran up to $1.40. And I'm just gonna zoom in here. You can see that it created an intraday gap, and usually they do fill unless it's like a really huge company and it just doesn't fill, but usually these smaller stocks do fill. And so let's say the halt was there, it reopened there, came up to $1.50, got rejected. So I was looking to get in towards the bottom, basically where that candle closed before the halt, and that was like right around $1. And I bought like some at 115, thinking it, because it was getting some buying before then, but just really not that strong. And then I ultimately added a little bit more as we got to it, and my risk was really small because these stocks are just really volatile, and they don't always have to do what you want them to do. But in this situation, it was a really high probability trade, so I should have put a little bit more. But yeah, $1. And then we rallied, we continued rallying up past the previous highs. We used that as support, and we continued up. Now this was also another hype play because they had news about, it was a SPAC registration statement on their SEC filings, and SPACs right now are they're going crazy. A lot of them are, they start out around $10, and because they're merging with another company that's already out there, they're going up from like $10 to $20 to $30. And so just off of the fact that that's happening and the stock was so cheap, and a lot of investors and traders got in right away when seeing the news. And so that happened with the halt, came back down, and so a proper entry was around $1, maybe $1.20. And like I say, kind of keep your risk small and don't use much of your account. And with these, you don't really need to use that much anyway because they just run so much. Getting at $1, it was already $2 by close, and then after hours, it already broke 3, and it almost broke 4. And realistically, I think this could hit 5 because on the long-term chart, there is a resistance at 5. But if we break through that by Monday morning, it's probably going to hit like close to maybe like $7 to $10. And because, like I say, the SPACs usually start around $10, this might head there. Even though they might not actually do the SPAC with this particular ticker, they might start another ticker with a blank check company, or their blank check unit with that SPAC. But just because it is really good news and it is a hype type of like news situation where it's a sector that's really hot and the penny stocks take advantage of that, or the companies take advantage of that, and they put out news with a press release. But anyway, yeah, this could potentially, be a stock that will thrive off of this news, but because of the nature of the stock and because how cheap it is, you just kind of want to stay away. So yeah, I just really wanted to go over that, and so yeah, I mean, with these, you just want to get in and kind of you don't even really need to to worry about like putting in too much, like I mentioned. Just more worry about making it like getting a really good entry and just trying to ride it up for as much as you can. And you can see, I mean, it did have some rejection here at this $4 area, actually $3.95, because of how strong a move it is and with the hype. I think it definitely will at least try to test that $5 resistance. Anyway, I just wanted to make a video about these penny stock breakouts. There's plenty of examples I could use otherwise, but those are the two ones that I thought about just off the top of my head. Anyway, thank you so much for watching the video, and have a great rest of your weekend. Take care.